Yes, ma'am.
Please go ahead.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you. A very good morning to one and all present over here. Man is moral, so are ideas. These are the words of none other than the father of Indian Constitution, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. An idea needs propagation as much as a plant needs watering, lest both shall wither and die. Venerated President of ASBM University and Chair of the Symposium, Co-Chair, honorable guests, delegates, members from the print and electronic media, invited guests, members of faculty and staff, coordinators of the convention, and my student colleagues. This is Aishwarya Yogarupa, a student of BBA E-Commerce, second year at ASBM University, extending a very warm welcome to everyone to the inaugural ceremony of the National HR Symposium 2021 with the theme Work, Workforce and Workplace, Re-strategizing HR. It gives me immense pleasure to apprise that people are attending the symposium from various locations, both online and offline. Further, I would also like to inform everyone that this program is on the live streaming. I now request the coordinator, Dr. Smaraki Patnaik, to introduce the eminent guests of the day. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Good morning, everyone. I again welcome you all to the inaugural session of the 11th National HR Symposium 2021 on the theme Workplace and Workforce, Re-strategizing HR. I now take this opportunity to introduce the guests of honor and esteemed speakers for this session. First, we have with us Mr. Nihar Ghosh. Mr. Ghosh is currently the President HR for Imami Limited, the flagship company of USD 3 billion Imami Group. In his previous assignment, he held the responsibility of Executive Director, Corporate HR at RP Sanjeev Goenka Group. Mr. Nihar was also a founding member and Executive Director HR for the retail sector of RP Sanjeev Goenka Group for over a decade, with responsibility for Spencer's Retail Limited, Music World Retail Limited, etc. He graduated with a master's degree in social works from Indore School of Social Work in 1985 and was a gold medalist of the batch. Mr. Ghosh is a seasoned HR professional with nearly 3 decades of rich and diverse experience in multinational corporation, family managed conglomerates, federal agency, and academic institution in India, Asia Pacific region, and Middle East region. His critical management and consulting assignments span FMCG, food processing, knowledge management, healthcare sector, etc. He held various HR leadership roles in companies like Johnson & Johnson, Asia Pacific, Algonium Industries, etc. In the early part of his career, he has also worked at IIM Ahmedabad, National Dairy Development Board, and Reliance Industries. His areas of interest include talent acquisition, talent management, organization development, performance management, and executive coaching. He is also an active trainer, process facilitator, and regular speaker at national and international industry and professional forums. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have with us Dr. C Jaykumar. Dr. C Jaykumar is the Executive Vice President and HR Corporate Human Resources, Larsen & Toubro Limited, an Indian multinational conglomerate with diversified interests in infrastructure, heavy engineering, manufacturing, IT, technology, and financial services with operations across 30 plus countries worldwide. He is a highly result-oriented HR professional with 33 years of experience in successfully planning, designing, implementing, and managing various strategic HR initiatives. He has been the head of HR for various businesses, independent companies, and joint ventures within L&T Group, including leadership roles in Middle East and Africa region. He has led various transformational initiatives within the organization and has been an established thought leader and widely acclaimed speaker in various national and international conferences and forums. On the academic front, he has 3 master's degrees and has earned degree in law and a doctorate in the area of leadership from the University of Madras. He has various national and international certifications and accreditations in psychometric as well as behavioral sciences domain. He is also certified in organization development from NTL Institute of Advanced Behavioral Sciences, USA. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
We also have with us today Ms. Renu Bohra. She has worked across multinational, private, and public sector companies in service, engineering, and manufacturing sector. She is currently heading HR function of Indian subcontinent in Skencut India Private Limited, a leader in logistics. Her area of expertise includes strategic HR, talent management, employment policies, performance management, employee engagement, OD, L&D, etc. A certified OD practitioner from ISABS, she has run various OD interventions on values and culture successfully. Prior to working in Skencut, India, Ms. Renu has worked in Blue Star Limited, Hospital Services Consultancy Corporation, Noida, Bharat Aluminium Company, New Delhi, and National Aluminium Company, Bhubaneswar, in various roles in HR. A key learner, she has done professional courses like brain-based coaching from Neuro Leadership Institute, ODCP from ISABS, Senior Management Program from IIM Calcutta, etc. We welcome you, ma'am. Last but not the least, we have with us Mr. Bharat Chhabra, Head Change Management and L&D, Tata Power Central Odisha Distribution Limited. Mr. Chhabra is a management graduate in HR and has over 25 years of work experience in the areas of HR, learning and development, corporate affairs, customer and relations management with some of the leading conglomerates, namely DCM Daewoo, Coca-Cola India, etc. He has been with Tata Power DDL for over 17 years with hands-on exposure in HR operations, employee relations and welfare, compensation and benefits, training and induction, performance management and people development strategies. During his tenure at Tata Power Delhi Distribution, in addition to his functional role, he was also leading Tata Power DDL's Learning Center, which had emerged as preferred training partner under capability building initiatives of Government of India, Ministry of Power through Power Finance Corporation. During his tenure, its Learning Center transformed itself into the Profit Center and has also contributed in nation building by training several engineers from all the 28 states power utilities and bringing in revenue for the organization. Presently, from June 2021 onwards, he has joined at Odisha to lead change management and learning and development for the 4 power distribution companies of Tata Power at Odisha, which are TPCODL, TPWODL, TPSODL, and TPNODL. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Subaraki. I am grateful to all of you and privileged to be in the company of such learned HR professionals. Thank you.
We are really fortunate and elated to have with us such eminent speakers today. I again welcome you all. Thank you. Over to you, Aishwarya.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request our Vice Chancellor, Professor Kalyan Shankar Rai, to deliver the welcome speech. So please.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Mr. President, sir, our eminent guests of honor, the delegates, my faculty colleagues, or coordinators of this conference, and my dear students. Let me start with a few lines from an American poet, Robert Frost. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this. In fact, many of us know Robert Frost only because of these oft-quoted lines. However, we may not know that Frost wrote another poem, aptly titled The Road Not Taken. It was in 1915, more than 100 years back. And let me quote from the last stanza. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less troubled by, and that has made all the difference. Imagine you are venturing into a forest and you come across two roads. One is well trodden, well used, a good road. The other one is not used, full of shrubs, unknown path. Our normal human tendency is to avoid the unknown. We are afraid of lurking dangers. We are not adventurous to discover. So what we do is, we forget the unknown, we disown the unknown, we go for the known road. We prefer the traverse path, the conventional path, and what happens? We live an average life, though it may be comfortable. Now, what happens if you go for the unconventional path? The path which is orthodox, not orthodox, the path which is not well trodden, a new path. It may be adventurous. There may be some uncertain moments, but you will reach the higher goal. I would like to give the example of ASBM University. Our founder, Professor Biswajit Patnaik, he decided to venture off the beaten path. He shunned the comforts of life, and ASBM University came into being in such a short period, and thereby he became a trailblazer. George Bernard Shaw, the great British dramatist and Nobel laureate, said the same thing, less traveled by. But Bernard Shaw is, after all, Bernard Shaw, a very witty satirist. So he used different language and wrote in his inimitable style, quote, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." The unreasonable man of Bernard Shaw is the one who travels by the less taken road of Robert Frost. And thereby, he makes all the difference. He becomes a leader, he becomes an innovator, and all progress depends on him. The common thread, if you keenly observe between both these writers, Robert Frost and George Bernard Shaw, is non-conformism. Last evening, I was reading a book by Adam Grant, a psychologist. And this book, a New York Times bestseller, was referred to me by Dr. Falguni Ranjana, our Pro-Vice Chancellor. The name of the book is Originals, How Nonconformists Change the World. Adam Grant says, and let me read from the book. There are two routes to achievement, conformity and originality. Conformity means following the crowd down conventional paths and maintaining the status quo. Originality is taking the road less traveled, championing a set of novel ideas that go against the grain, but ultimately make things better. Originality itself starts with creativity, generating a concept that is both novel and useful. But it doesn't stop there. Originals are people who take the initiative to make their vision a reality, unquote. During my work experience of almost 5 decades, I have seen organizations full of conformists who follow the conventional path. A conformist creates another conformist, and the tribe keeps on increasing. And thereby, we sound the death knell of creativity. People think that originality or creativity is a rare phenomenon. We think that the creative person is a rare breed, a rara avis. So I cannot be creative. I cannot be original. I'll only be a copy master. Adam Grant has shattered this myth in his book. His research demonstrates that all of us can be creative, all of us can be original, all of us can be innovative. The challenge for HR today is to re-strategize and formulate new strategies to develop originality and creativity. Today, for this conference, we have a galaxy of eminent HR leaders. We have with us Mr. Nihar Ghosh, President HR of Emami Limited. We have Dr. C Jaykumar, Chief Human Resource Officer of L&T. There is Ms. Renu, Chief Human Resource Officer of DB Shankar Private Limited. We have Mr. Bharat Chhabra, Head Change Management and L&D of TPCODL, a Tata Enterprise. And of course, we have Professor Biswajit Patnaik, Founder and President of ASBM, and another eminent HR leader. All of them are known HR practitioners and admired action leaders. They are also acclaimed thought leaders. I welcome all of them to this conference on work, workplace, and workforce, re-strategizing HR. I also welcome the delegates. I welcome the students, my faculty colleagues, and all other participants. And let me end now with a fond hope that this conference will deliberate how to re-strategize HR to make people original, to make the workplace creative, to make the workforce innovative and enterprising. Thank you. Thank you very much. Over to you, Aishwarya.
Thank you, sir. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to you for such rejuvenating words. And now I would like to request the chairperson of the National Symposium, Dr. Biswajit Patnaik, founder and president of ASBM University, to introduce the theme of the symposium. Sir, please.
Thank you, Aishwarya. My voice is audible?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Esteemed guest of this program, Mr. Nihar Ghosh, Dr. Cjayakumar, Ms. Renu Bohra, Mr. Bharat Chhabra, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Kalyan Shankar Roy, our Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Niranjana, convener of this program, Dr. Smarki, co-convener, Dr. Bhaktabandhu Das, invited dignitaries, those who are attending online, my dear students, many of them they are attending online and some of them are attending physical, those who are available in the university in the mini auditorium. At the outset, I welcome all of you and I extend my sincere gratitude for all the outstanding HR professionals. Those are there in this inaugural program to share their thoughtful deliberations, and I am sure that this program will open a vista for the discipline of human resource management. This particular theme, work, workplace, workforce, re-strategizing HR, I can tell very candidly that this is not a very new theme. Since last 2 to 3 years, a lot of debates, deliberations and discussions are taking place on this particular topic. And we decided in the Faculty Council that this is a very, very pertinent topic in today's time to discuss and deliberate and churn out some new thoughts from the practitioners. We are also thankful to a couple of outstanding HR professionals, those who would be part of the panel discussion in the afternoon. Dr. G.P. Rao, a veteran in HR, Dr. Sujeev Nair, the CHRO of Ramki, Colonel Dr. Ashwini Kumar Joshi, Director E&Y, and Mr. J. Subramaniam, Head HR of Kelar Group. Now coming to the theme which we have decided to discuss in this 11th National HR Symposium of ASBM, Work, Workplace, Workforce, Re-strategizing HR. All of you know that re-strategizing is basically recreating. And any recreation, it involves change. And we also know that there is always a resentment for change. We want the entire world to change. We want all the people around us to change, except we as an individual. That is the fallacy of the change management and change management process. I would like to give you a couple of examples that why we need change, and change is inevitable, whether we like it or we don't like it. the vast majority of firms, when they have not adapted to change, they have failed. I'll give
Professor Saab, you have gone on mute.
I can't hear you.
where I have lost from the beginning, or
No, just I think few minutes back.
Just 1 second back.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I was saying that the change is inevitable, whether we like it or we don't like it. They have perished. And we have several examples of those organizations. I wanted just to give 3 examples. One is Kodak failed to adapt from paper photos to digital, and they are not existing. Similarly, Nokia failed to adapt from flip phones to smartphones, and Nokia lost the game. AOL failed to adapt from dial-up phones to broadband, and AOL
laptop nagubutulu
is there. All these failures are precisely because of absence of change. Now today, organizations are very serious. The bright example is Mr. Chhabra heading the change management portfolio of Tata. So it shows that most of the organizations, they have taken change as a part of life, and it is important for the process of success and sustainability. We need to change because of several reasons. One is the economic upheavals. When there is a recession, it pushed us to change. When there is a technology innovation, we need to change. The brightest example is COVID-19. The people, those who have never seen the computer, now they are able to join online and participate in all activities through beautiful technology of information technology. Similarly, the competition has pushed us to change. Change of preference, general change, and also the generational change. Today, we find 3 generations at workplace. We call them Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. And you imagine how many challenges are there to manage these 3 generations with different preferences in one workplace. Similarly, the pandemic also is a great lever of change, which has been witnessed throughout the globe during this COVID-19. You know that Charles Darwin has a very famous quote. I would like to quote here. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change. Therefore, adaptation to change is the mantra of progress and sustainability. Friends, I was going through several research publications. One of the publications is very important and I found very pertinent to mention here. That is being conducted by PwC in 2018, few years back, but which is very relevant. That is on workforce of the future, the competing forces shaping 2030. That has given a roadmap and identified several issues and challenges. The most important is, this is not about some for future of work. Change is already happening and accelerating. Technology made jobs redundant. Protect people, not jobs. The message is very clear in the PwC report for all HR professionals throughout the globe that please protect people, not jobs. Jobs may change, jobs may perish, but people can be nurtured and they can be reoriented to new skills and knowledge base. Similarly, the nurture agility. Today's time is agile, adaptability, and reskilling. I think starting from Government of India down the line, all corporations, people are working on skilling, reskilling, and upskilling because that is the need of the hour. Similarly, they have also highlighted in PwC report, automation and artificial intelligence will affect every level of business and its people. Hence, understanding of changing technology landscape is a must. So therefore, we need to understand that technology has to be there at the front. And you have seen that most of the HR practices today are driven by artificial intelligence, starting from talent sourcing to the orientation using artificial intelligence. Another interesting study has been carried out in Harvard Business School, and they have highlighted in their working paper and the workplace implications, issues, insights for future research and action in 2020, last year. And it has been developed by Kevin et al. There are a number of researchers, so I am not wasting time in repeating the names, but the lead researcher is Kevin. And they have highlighted that the COVID-19 has impacted on workers and workplace across the globe. It has brought a dramatic change. And we see the change everywhere around us, whether industry, academia, or the service sector, the tourism. They have highlighted that working from home and virtual teams is now very common and normal. Similarly, unemployment, layoff, stress and burnout are the important issues. Redesigning work for digital workforce. They said in their working paper that we need to redesign the workplace. So therefore, there is enough food for thought that there is an impact in workplace and workforce. Similarly, British Council's Future Skill in India Foundation report in March 2018, I am sure many of you must have gone through, has thrown several interesting findings, and that is exclusively on India. Technological change and innovation are key drivers of economic change. Now, technology will play a very, very important role in the days to come, and innovation will be at the front seat. Industry 4.0, the fourth industrial revolution, which we say now, is the future digitalization of the economy driven by the latest technological change in ICT, cyber physical systems, network communication, simulation, big data, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence. The skill landscape in India is basically increasing supply of young but unskilled workforce. I am emphasizing again that there would be a large number of young people would be available in India, but unfortunately, they are unskilled. So therefore, we need to give a lot of importance on skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. Similarly, few graduates are employable. Even the Knowledge Commission has highlighted that employability is an issue. Every company is searching for talent. In fact, I always say in a lighter sense, most of the IIMs, their 40% faculty positions are vacant throughout the year. Why? Because we have people, but their employability is pretty low. So therefore, academic institutions, industry should come together to set the youngsters and make them employable. In this direction, I would like to mention here that ASBM has entered into a collaboration with National HRD Network this year very recently to introduce a master program in human resource management from 2022 focusing employability for HR professionals. When we strategize, we need to focus on performance. Interestingly, performance is contagious. Performance, both good and bad, are infectious. Recently, I read one book and I found that a lot of that how performance is infectious. The study by Professor Will Phelps of University of South Wales in Australia has highlighted that one underperformer reduces the team performance by 30 to 40%. As a solution to this, Reed Hastings and Erin Mayer in their book, No Rules, it is basically on Netflix, has suggested the technique of talent density to enhance performance. Talented people make one another more effective. Therefore, instead of making the underperformed infection in the company, we must highlight the talent people infection, because one talented person can infect another talented person and create a pool of talent which will help in enhancing the performance of the organization. HR professionals are uniquely positioned to model positivity and encourage other employees to thrive. SHRM has a sustainable way. In fact, workplace, workforce, and work need to be aligned through strategy and re-strategy of HR for optimization of performance and sustainability. In one of the book, Creating Performing Organization, the co-authored are Bipin Gupta from California State University, San Bernardino, and Dr. Falguni Ranjana, which has been published by Sage International. There also we have highlighted that how to make an organization performing. Performance should be day-to-day initiation, and we need to create a culture of performing. Lastly, I would like to quote the great exponent, the management scientist and father of modern management, Peter Drucker. He has wrote in Executive Excellence, we can already see the future taking shape, but I believe the future will turn in unexpected ways. The greatest changes are still ahead of us. The society of 2030 will be very different from today's and succeed today's society and bear little resemblance to that predicted by today's futurists. To survive and succeed, organizations will have to become change agents. The most effective way to manage change successfully is to create it. My dear friends, before I end, I would like to appeal the younger generation, the students, those who are attending in this program, the HR professionals, all of them, they should focus to become a change agent. Thank you very much. And I again thank all the outstanding HR professionals, those are sharing this platform today to share their thoughts. Thank you very much. Over to Aishwarya.
Thank you very much, sir, for such enlightening words. I hope they will inspire the younger generation. Before I invite our next guest speaker, I would like to request all our guests to please turn on their videos for a group picture.
Thank you, sir. It's okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to request Mr. Nihar Ghosh, President, HR Imami Limited, to deliver the keynote of the National HR Symposium 2021. Sir, please.
So thank you, Aishwarya. My esteemed fellow panelists, Professor Patnaik, Professor Ray, all the faculty members of ASBM, the student delegates, and all the other staff members who have joined this symposium today. So a very warm welcome to all of you. And personally, I would like to thank you for inviting me to be part of this forum. It's always very energizing and refreshing to be part of a conversation of this kind, because you get to hear so many new points of view, and it's an opportunity actually to learn than to share. So that's my motivation to join any forum of this kind. So thanks, Professor Ray and Professor Patnaik, for setting the context. And I think you all have given many new dimensions to what is really happening in the space of work, workplace, and workforce. While there is a lot of work happening, but given the dynamic nature of change that's happening, and especially precipitated by the kind of situation that we've been facing for last close to 20 months now, I think also in some ways, it's a leap of faith. And it's also a bit like grazing a crystal ball. I mean, we are all creating hypotheses and theories in terms of what is it that the future is going to be. Honestly speaking, I don't think any one of us can say with surety that this is how 2025 is going to look like. This is how 2030 is going to look like. But yes, we all have learned the science of extrapolation and projection. And now with the advent of AI and machine learning, big data, we are able to forecast in a fairly accurate way for things that are substantive. For something like this, which is purely behavioral and situational, I'm not sure which would be a very perfect forecasting model. But in any case, as a human race, we have always overcome adversities that, if you look at the human history of about nearly 10,000 years, I mean, human race has been one of the most resilient species on this planet. That is why this particular species rules the world. Okay, so we've learned to adapt, emerge with all kinds of catastrophes and disruptions that we went through, and find a new way and a new path. So I think this is part of that journey. I would like to stay away from all those who are portraying the gloom and doom, saying that the world is coming to an end and there is no tomorrow. I don't think so. I think we will all survive. Human race will become more resilient, will become stronger. We will learn ways and methods to add. I'm not very sure how much of our past knowledge, I mean, all of us colleagues who we've all been working for over 3 decades, how much of what we have been through in our past 3 decades of work life is going to be relevant for future.
certain things that is of course going to carry on are our values and ethos and passion for work. But the way the work itself happens is certainly going to change, and glimpses of that are available. So I think work becoming virtual in large quantum of the entire work process value chain is a reality for future. So I think we will have to start looking at the job and the way the organization is structured and the work processes in a manner where we need to factor this in, because what we've seen in last 20 months, it's not going to be the end of it. Plus, we've also realized that the virtual world also gives us a lot of advantage in terms of cost, in terms of efficiency, in terms of quality of life. So once we're out of this phase, possibly as a matter of choice, we would like to keep the virtual mode of working as a component of our work system in a hybrid model. Obviously, the workforce in a virtual world will be fragmented. So you're not going to be 50 of you are not going to be coming onto the same floor, using the same pantry, taking a break at the same time, and talking to each other at the workplace. That is somehow not going to be back in the way that it has been in the past. So we'll have to learn to live in a fragmented world, people scattered in different places. Jobs and roles are going to get much more focused, because we are moving into a world where everything that's happening is becoming real time. There is very little tolerance for margin of error. In a scenario like this, we will have to focus on making each job extremely sharp and focused in terms of what is the job created to deliver. All right. The world is not necessarily going to be, the work organization is not necessarily going to be a vertical organization the way it has been so far. We will be looking at crisscross depending on the project and the goal that we have. We might have to keep shifting the model of reporting and command and control that we typically put in place to manage a work organization. That will significantly undergo a change, and it will actually become very, very flexible and multi what would we call dimensional, rather than being one dimensional, which was always vertical. Another thing I think which is fundamentally going to change for work is we will possibly have to create jobs which different segments of employees bring to work as not necessarily on a full-time basis, which is what I'm referring to as gig economy. So the work structures are going to be in a way where an individual comes and delivers bites of work rather than a continuous process work. So I think these are fundamental changes that is at least into foreseeable future, the work itself is going to change. Workplace, as I was also referring just now, will obviously tend to become more and more hybrid depending on the constrained nature of work, nature of the assignment, nature of business. Hybrid is going to be a way of life. Technology is going to, of course, come into the center stage of the workplace. Now, everything is going to be connected, hyper connected, super connected. As a consequence, companies will have to be investing in workplaces which are completely digitally evolved. The lack of sense of community what we have enjoyed as human organizations, I would personally foresee that there is going to be a decline in that, because if you're not going to be living and working every single work day, 8 to 10 hours, possibly meet once in 15 days, once in 10 days, those relationships and the sense of community that we shared so far is going to undertake a significant change. And the relationships at work are going to be very detached and matter of fact. So it is now we are going to be seeing organizational relationships between individuals, between co-workers being more transactional, matter of factly, rather than the way it happened today, which had a great emotional quotient and content. to the relationships that people enjoyed at work. I think that is fundamentally going to change because of this shift that's happening. In terms of workforce, I think that's an area where there will be significant amount of change that is going to be this thing. First of all, I think because of this kind of changes that's happening in the work and workplace itself, the expectation of employees from their career that we have traditionally looked at is going to undergo a significant change. So there are no more going to be this whole workforce planning or talent management program that we put in place. We talked about individuals coming in at 23, 24 years of age, transiting through various routes, permutation, combination, and traveling to a particular position. Now, many of those might become redundant, primarily because an individual is possibly not going to be looking at life the way we want to define. Okay. So the choices that we offer as an organization, as a permutation combination, because there is an organizational skill need that needs to be met for a role or an individual transiting to roles, an individual might not agree to those propositions. So we need to really closely study and understand what is the kind of emerging career expectation that the current generation, which is also going to be changing their expectation, and the new generation of workforce that is going to come in. It is going to become a world of instant gratification where now everything else is on a touch and it's available to you instantly. Why not at workplace? So every single employee into future is going to be having from HR and from all the life cycle touch points the same expectations that they today have from Swiggy, Zomato, or Netflix, or this thing. Everything has to be on demand, on touch. And we need to be very sensitive, because please understand, while an individual spends 8 hours at workplace, the balance 16 hours are spent in a space where everything else is on a touch. So we possibly need to think of recreating an experience for them at workplace, which is exactly like what they experience outside work. All right. So how is our internal digital platform going to be creating those experiences where people can have instant gratification? So this whole concept of review process, which has either a quarterly or a half-yearly performance feedback, might not be something that this employee is interested in anymore. The recognition program that we run, which on an annual basis recognizes people may not have patience to wait for a year, then to make an application for an excellence award and then get recognized. So how is our entire recognition and reward program going to work? Because we are moving into a phase where instant gratification is going to be driving, that's going to be a source of motivation. People are going to be short-term focused primarily for two reasons. Because they don't know what the future holds. So nobody is going to be creating a forecast. So this question, where do you see yourself from 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, is going to become a redundant question in the interview. A person might not even be interested in looking at how his or her life is going to be 5 years from now, because of the sheer fact that there is so much of change and dynamism that's in the environment. So an individual is not going to commit himself herself for saying that, no, this is the course that I will stay and invest for the next 10 years or 15 years. So now if that is the scenario, how do we create talent pipeline and meet the talent requirements and needs of the organization? Because at the end of the day, an individual might have a choice, but we need to run a business which needs people with certain capability and skill sets at various points of journey in the business. People will also look at multiple domain changes, because midway through the career, there are many new skill segments which are going to be coming up because of technology intervention and because of process changes. And also because the work itself is going to get redesigned. As a consequence, people might consider, so somebody you've taken today in marketing is not necessarily going to be retiring as a chief marketing officer, or is possibly not even looking at becoming a chief marketing officer. So 3 years down the line, he might say, no, I think data science is possibly a more rewarding, a more exciting field. I hadn't, explored that while I was preparing to get into this career. I am willing to take that challenge because that space is more exciting, and I will reskill myself and move into that domain. So we will see a lot of domain interchange that will happen going forward. Of course, I think the given fact is that there are going to be many new domains which are going to be coming up, which we today don't deal with. And of course, leading to that will be a huge amount of short supply of talent in the emerging and new domain. I mean, all of us know today the kind of scramble that's happening to hire data scientists, and everybody is bending backwards to invite. I mean, currently I am working on creating a center of excellence on data science and analytics, and the kind of flexibility that we have exhibited in this process of bringing these individuals were possibly completely non-negotiable a year from now in the past. So if these are the kind of skill shortages that's going to happen, what is it that's going to do to your established internal organization norms in terms of compensation design, rewards, is salary banding, salary grading, and job grading going to be still the same into future or not, is something that we need to look at. And also with all these changes that's happening in workforce, I'm not sure whether the source of motivation that we understood, that this is what ticks an employee, will be the same that happened that we have been practicing all these years. So there has to be enough amount of investment in terms of researching and understanding what are the new source of motivational triggers that an employee will have into future, given the context of change that's happening. Some of it is going to be led by opportunities. Some of it's going to be led by overall, social change that's happening, because along with all this, there is a huge amount of social change that's happening. The way people look at life, the way people look at society. Now with these, obviously the things that motivated you in the past, so possibly in the past, working for a good brand name company was a source of motivation. That I wear that logo of that company with pride on my chest. Now, I'm not sure whether that's going to be true for every single employee going into future. So what is it that's going to get him kicked to come back to you, to stay with you, and to love his or her job? Now, all this is going to be going a very, very fundamental change going into future. So in my perspective, I would see that given the today's dynamics, fundamentally there's going to be massive shifts that's going to be happening at work in terms of the jobs and the roles and the way the organizational design stands. There is going to be, of course, a change in the work settings, work environment, and work processes at workplace that we have. And finally, the entire DNA of workforce is going to be undergoing a change. So given all this, I think especially the HR folks, rather than being prophetic, will possibly need to become students of new emerging human behavior and try and establish new norms rather than trying to hold on to past, because that's what we are knowledged and skilled with to work with. So HR itself will have to fundamentally go and re-examine many of the bases on which we have designed our HR process systems and our entire philosophy of managing people. So all that needs to get re-evaluated. So these are my views. Thank you so much. I would be very keen to listen to my fellow panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such concise address to all of us. I would now request the guest of honor and eminent speaker, Dr. C Jaykumar, Chief Human Resource Officer, Larsen & Toubro Limited, Mumbai, to address the assemblage. Please, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Am I loud and clear?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Dr. Biswajit Patnaik, co-chair, Professor Kalyan Shankar Ray, Professor Kalagu Naranjana from ASBM University, my fellow eminent speakers, Mr. Nihar Ghosh from Imami, Renu from Sneaker, and Bharat from Tata Pop. Nice to be part of this HR conclave. Dr. Biswajit Patnaik requested me to be in this forum and speak for 20 minutes. But he spoke everything, right from Darwin till Kodak to Nokia, India skill report, PwC report, wondering what is left out. Something was left out that Mr. Nihar spoke. Now I'm wondering what I should speak in the conference. Nice. I work for a company called Larsen Tubro. We make things that make India proud. We call ourselves as a builders to the nation. We are into infrastructure, power, heavy engineering. Most of you know, but still for this benefit of the students, I thought let me also. Defense engineering, hydrocarbon, reality, industrial products. Last year, our revenue was around 1,35,000 crores with around 11,600 crores of profit after tax. And we have a huge order backlog of 3,27,000 crores. It's touch wood, things are going fine. It's our key term, our tagline says it's all about imaginary. So as Dr. Kalyan spoke in the initial about the road less traveled, we also feel that yes, there's a need to take new paths. We need to take calculated risk. We have to be cautiously optimistic in the field so that we remain ahead of the competition, we remain ahead of the industry, we remain ahead of others. I fully endorse the view of Dr. Kalyan. We built the tallest, deepest, largest, you name anything. We have broken our own records multiple times. We have the tallest statue of unity, which was built by us. Some deepest caravans we have done. Largest airport, Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, you name any airport, it is constructed by L&T. Metro in Chennai, Mumbai, different places. Longest fleet corridors. Most of the complex projects we have done. We are also a people-oriented organization. Our saying by one of our founders says it's machinery may be there, buildings may be there, but without people, it's all nothing. People are the only assets. This has become part of our culture. So with this background, I have spent 33 years in this organization, moved in ranks from joining as an entry-level trainee. From there, I moved up the rank in this 33 years, worked in different businesses, different geographies, with different leaders. And so coming to the topic of workplace and workforce, re-strategizing HR, right? No doubt it was unprecedented. Many of the youngsters who are watching maybe first wondering, yes, pandemic happened, we work from home. What is that we lost? Okay. Imagine an organization like Larsen & Toubro or a great big organization which is in projects, manufacturing, other than your software, or which can be totally done from home. All of a sudden, the work stopped. So once the work stopped for 3 months, the initial first phase, I can talk about phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1, the work stopped. For example, if you are constructing a house for X amount of money, and if it takes 12 months to complete the project, if the 3 months or 6 months is lost, you imagine that much of time is lost. You would have hired machinery, you would have hired people, you would have purchased material, everything gets stuck. So this will not only extend the time, this will also lead to cost for that additional cost will be there. Then in the first phase, labor's migrant workers went off, supply chain got distracted, there was a lot of fear, anxiety and all those things. Then we slowly started coming up when the phase 2 came. Phase 2 became very deadly. The fear got reduced, people got exposed, and the number of fatalities was so high in the second phase. There was shortage of oxygen, shortage of rooms, etc. And somehow we could retain the majority of the workforce during the second phase, but second phase was very. Third phase is now, it's slowly opening up. Still, it is not fully gone. It is somewhere around the corner. We are also scared. We are very careful about it. But now the thing is to execute the backlog of orders, catch up on the time, money, effort, whatever we have put. I remind of a saying that if I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sail always to reach the destination. So we have to, within the available things, we have to manage to get things done. Dr. Biswajit Patnaik spoke about 2-3 examples, and he spoke very well about the importance of change. You know, how Kodak vanished, Nokia vanished, and including Charles Darwin. It is not the strongest of the species, or that surveys are not the most intelligent. It is the most which is adaptable to change. We adapted to change. As Larsen and Toubro, we quickly adapted to change. We got into business continuity. We immediately looked at various measures to control cost, stabilize the supply chain. We looked at ways on to maintain the liquidity. When I say liquidity, for example, you take a organization which has 1,000 crores of machinery, which has 3 lakh workers. 3 months is stopped. There is no revenue. There is no billing because work doesn't happen. But you cannot terminate the workers or the staff. You have to pay salary. It will be salary for a month itself is around 500 crores. 3 months if you pay it itself 1,200 crores, and without a revenue. And this, how it can be adjusted. So there is what the liquidity. Where will you get the money from? So these are the challenges which most of the companies went through. We sailed through because luckily we went into a digital transformation a couple of years back. We leveraged technology. We used various things to improve the productivity, reduce cost, reduce timelines, and it's a digitalization technology. Next comes to the people dimension. We took a lot of care on the people part of it, right from health advisory, communication, and then after the second phase started, the full focus was on vaccinating the staff. 90% of the staff are vaccinated. We arranged hospitals, we arranged oxygen center. This is for the people part of it. Then slowly moving to the social part of it. As a corporate citizen, we also looked at the society. We arranged oxygen, large-scale oxygen generators to the various hospitals. More than 40 large-scale oxygen were done. We used our smart world communication thing to leverage technology to identify unsafe behaviors in the cities and various places. In various ways, we tried to help the. So now let me straight away come to the topic of how after the pandemic workplace and the workforce has changed. Let me touch upon work now. I said I will give an example of Larsen and Toubro. The future of work is about making work better for humans and humans better at work. And today, because of this disruption, technology is taking, we call it as a double disruption today. One is the technological disruption, another is the pandemic. So we are getting into the latest of latest technology. We use technologies like AR, VR for awareness, education and safety. We use an Uberization, we call it as a Uberization of workmen for tracking of workmen and mobilizing workmen. We use a lot of technology in terms of skills training and safety. Let me take one example. We have more than 1,000 machinery. In a construction project, you know, there is a batching plant, there will be trucks, there will be jeep, there will be welding machines. A whole lot of machinery will be there. The entire machinery across Larsen and Toubro is tagged with RFIDs and sensors. So at any point of time, let a batching plant be in the remotest corner of somewhere in Rajasthan. Sitting in the headquarters in Chennai, we know the quantity of concrete produced, what is the the fuel consumption, what is the heat, what is the quality, what is the preventive maintenance required, entire thing, data flows here. That is the amount of technology which is used. So sitting at one point of place, we can say what is the preventive maintenance required for a truck or a dozer or a wheel loader which is operating in a particular project. Next example, like building information modeling, 3D modeling of geo fencing and geospatial using the, for example, I'll give for people to understand. For example, if heap of sand which is required for construction or heap of aggregate which is required, that is the stones which is required for construction is there in a place. Sitting in Chennai, you can measure the quantity using geospatial. That is the level of technology which has grown. We have done 1+1 house at Kanchipuram near to Chennai by 3D printing. So that's where the work is changing. The whole the technology is coming inside. It is disrupting the whole thing. So the work as such, I am talking about a remote, about a brick and mortar industry like construction. You imagine the other industries, high-tech manufacturing, and they are all way ahead. So work is totally changing. Now let me touch upon workplace. There's a lot of talk happening about the hybrid model of working. There are a lot of researchers done. When they say hybrid model, it is where to 25% to 75% of the work can be done from home or from anywhere. So it depends from industry to industry. We cannot apply uniformly. How can I do a construction and a concreting sitting at my home? There has to be people in this site. How can do reinforcement? Can I do an excavation? Construction cannot be done from. So certain things like planning or some designing can be done from there. So the McKinsey report says in construction around 15 to 20% can be done from home. Whereas when it comes to finance and insurance, 75 to 80% can be worked from home. So it varies based on the industry. Why people want to work from a site is because one is they may not have the technology to sit at home and do. There's need. Man is a social animal. We need collaboration. We have to cooperate. We have to do this. And there are and sometimes some people also want to come and work from office because of visibility, the impression management. Unless boss, the out of sight, out of mind. If the boss doesn't see me for a long, what happens to my promotion increment? So there's a visibility also required. So various ways people want to come on site. Many don't want to come and they work from remote is because of the safety, concern of health, safety, etc. Quality of life. They want a freedom. That is flexible working hours. So technology is there. Workspace is convenient for them to work at home, etc. But when I analyze the industry, when I talk to people, there is no uniform way. There are in different pockets it is happening. If I take all manufacturing, construction, this type of people are looking at have resumed work, but they feel all the others are working from home, so we should bring in a policy to make work from home. So they are trying to grappling with the policy, how to bring it, whether we can have 1 day, 2 days work from home or a weekly, a monthly, some 5 days, 6 days, like that they are working on that. Whereas the technology companies on the other side are all working from home in the last 2 days. Now they are thinking how we can come back to work, whether we can start with the 2 days, whether can I start with 1 day, so that we both have a problem. So you cannot either fully work or there, it should be a hybrid model. Both the industry are grappling. So in our industry, if I call for work from home, that objective is to give convenience and flexibility for the employees and to also to align with the industry, etc. So this is regarding the workplace part of it. So I spoke about work, then I spoke about workplace. Now let us start about the workforce. And Nihar very nicely talked about the different generations working and the gig economy, people coming for a specific period of work and all those things he spoke about. Yes, gig economy has not picked up very much. In pockets, people are trying it out, giving a specific set of assignment which can be measured, which can be given to a third party or a third person who can work remotely and then do that, provided it can be quantifiable, measurable and done. But what is more important is because of the technology, because of this dual disruption, the whole scenario has changed, work has changed. So World Economic Forum report says 85 million jobs today will vanish by 2020. It will go. That jobs will not be there. And 97 million new jobs will come. So that means a net a good thing is 12 million new jobs will be there. But 97 millions of new jobs which will require new set of skills, new set of competencies like AI, ML, IoT, big data, cloud computing, analytics. It's a total new set of competencies are required. So the report also says what is the competency required today for the workforce is critical thinking, analysis, problem solving, active listening, and also skills like learning agility, digital mindset. These are the new skill set which is required. So the demographics of people are changing, the skill sets are changing. So organizations have to quickly grapple with this, bring in new way of education of skilling, reskilling, multi-skilling to be done. So we have also in L&T, we have started a new initiative, new business line called EduTech, where we are doing technical courses for all the universities. And we also provide that for the employers also for skilling, reskilling, and multi-skilling. It is a separate business line, lntedutech.com. You can visit our website and see what we are doing in terms of reskilling people, etc. So with let me stop with this. Then otherwise, ASBM and Mr. Patnaik will not call me again for any future lecture. So thank you very much. I took enough time. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Not muted, is it? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now request our next guest of honor and eminent speaker, Ms. Renu Bora, Chief Human Resource Officer, DB Schenker Private Limited, to kindly deliver her lecture. Ma'am, please.
A very good afternoon to all of you. I can see a raised hand of the participant, Amit Mohapatra. If he has a question, the previous panel member, please go ahead. There's a raised hand for a long time. I'm leaving it to you, Aishwarya. How are you going to handle this raised hands? I start my talk. First of all, my sincere thanks to the organizers for inviting me, and my sincere thanks to the audience here who are attentively listening, and I would request them to ask as many questions as possible so that it becomes more of interactive, because I'm sure that on this topic, the knowledge that I have won't be more than that many of the participants would be having. It was really a pleasure to hear from the speakers, and I was glued to them. I think most of the elements around this topic have been covered, and we can easily make the session open for interaction. Since I've been asked to speak, let me try to touch those points, I think, which maybe need some kind of reiteration, if not speaking any further, because as I said, most of the topics have been covered by now. So I'll start by saying that, all this topic is coming around. It is not that future of work was not spoken earlier. It was spoken. But in the pandemic time, I think it is being so much observed and seen that it has become like an alternate reality. So in the pandemic time, we had great many realizations. Just 2 minutes. We went through a business continuity model. Each corporate was going through a lot of discussion, a lot of work around how do we ensure that business continues, and I think it was a very time-consuming process. Then the focus changed when we got a grip of working from home or working from anywhere or hybrid working. Or in a company like ours, my company is Schenker India, where we do warehousing. and freight forwarding. So most of the on-roll employees were working from home, while those who are supposed to work from warehouses, doing picking, packing, using the MHE operations, they were all working at the site. So the focus shifted from how do we do business continuity, then it shifted from how do we have a very successful working from home and a successful hybrid working. Then the focus was when we reported, or there were not many cases of burnout being reported. Second wave of pandemic was far more fatal. Then a lot of talk around resilience. That the focus shifted from the corporate to the individual, that how does individual become more resilient, be in terms of being mentally very fit, emotionally fit, physically resilient, socially resilient, and then on financial resilience. And particularly financial resilience topic became very active in the second pandemic wave, when people were struggling, the family members were in the hospital. For even rupees 5,000, they were struggling because at times the wives or the spouse were not knowing the pin of the ATM card. The employee or his family member were in the hospital. Not everybody was allowed to go to the hospital. There were a lot of social distancing norms. And then everybody was running here and there for those funds. And then it was thought that let things open up and then we will have a huge focus on making our employees self-reliant, resilient, and having a very good financial discipline. So on. I don't think we have reached success on any of these points, but these are like work in progress. I would believe that there are corporates who are talking about global warming, because pandemic happened, but pandemic will again happen, as we all hear. I'm not sounding, we don't have to sound like a doomsday, but I'm saying that the way MERS, SARS happened so rapidly in a span of 5 to 6 years, each of them 5 or 6 years interval, and then we had COVID, and COVID is still not over, and we are hearing the news that it has again resurfaced in China, in certain parts of China, and still we are saying that there will be third wave. Third wave is ongoing. Is it ongoing or not? There will be a fourth wave and so on. But I'm saying that the real cause, which we all believe is on global warming, needs to be addressed, and I think there will be some corporates who will be addressing that. Just 2 minutes. Yeah, so having said that, let me not digress any further, but I wish that global warming is discussed and there is a lot of change in the way corporates work, the industry works, so that we are able to tackle global warming. I heard the words of Dr. Nihar, and I believe that we are all optimistic we will be able to evolve and face and overcome this, but we need to address it. Coming very specific to the topic of today about work. Well, we have seen, we wish that we just open up and we go back to what we were doing 2 years back or 18 months back. And many corporates would like to do that, but things have changed. We are seeing the employee behavior has changed. Employees and corporates have also found out that there was a huge surge of productivity when most of us were working from home. Then obviously there were questions around burnout, and we said that okay, we will be able to find the right balance. At the same time, while things are changing, I'm sure that people would know, and I would refer to a survey on job preferences. I would There was a survey done on job preferences on over more than 2 lakh job seekers. And this is pre-pandemic. So one may question that is the data still holds true, but I'm just referring to the survey because the number on job seeker was very good, like 2 lakh job seekers participated in the survey. And in this survey that they were asked, that what are your job preferences, and the attractive salary came as 8th point. And among the top 4 came as, appreciation of work, good relationship with peers, good work-life balance, and good relationship with superior. So it's all about relationship, and it's all about appreciation of work. It's all about a work-life balance, which is like flexibility. And I think in this pandemic time and post-pandemic, people have, first of all, found that flexibility is so important. It was also important earlier, but now people have found that you can be flexible and you can also be productive. And so it's now organization now to settle this, to solve this puzzle. Now it is HR there to solve this puzzle and just not be having that kind of regimented thought around work, workplace, and job description and so on. As soon as things opened up, we are hearing a lot about great resignations. 40% attrition is what McKinsey has spoken about. Have you felt in your organization? I'm not sure, but in my own organization, we are seeing it. We had around 9% attrition, and suddenly it's now becoming 17%. And we are losing many people. There are reports in which it's being said that people have come to know about their purpose of life, and there are millions of people who are not going to go back to work because after pandemic they realize what is more important for them. Well, when I discussed with the people who are leaving our organization in the exit interview, I could not find that is the reason that they are leaving for. Exactly, that they are like pursuing their dreams. Most of them are going to competition or competitive organization with a higher salary or maybe a bigger role or whatever. But what I mean to say is that the great resignation is a reality, and HR and the organizations have to realize that unless we do something around workplace, unless we settle this conundrum of work and also on-demand workforce, then only we'll be able to bring a method to the madness. So what is the HR's role? And when we talk about re-strategizing HR, what is the HR's role in designing new workplace? Well, I think we have moved from that mindset of HR doing welfare to HR doing employee satisfaction, and then we were talking about employee experience. And we have all been talking about as if employee experience is a major thing. And here, when we talk about employee experience, let's see what matters or what constitutes employee experience. And I would say there are 3 overlapping themes around employee experience. One is company culture, which is intangible, but it is a way the management respects people, are fair, involve people, are accessible, in which is my colleague working with me, collaborating with me, is the environment toxic, is the environment positive? So culture is one aspect which impacts employee experience, and HR has some role to play, but culture is much top down. It is the leadership which impacts culture. Then second is technology, and technology is like, if I join an organization and it's the best role that I'm looking for, it is the best salary, but my my employee self-service module or my leave application or any technology interface, or if I'm working in operations department and the technology interface is not good, if I'm working in sales, but my sales data is not coming out, helpful in giving me some analysis, then technology is one point which impacts employee experience. So HR can do the best thing around culture, but technology, you have to give your employees recent, the most important, most effective technology. You can't be giving them an e-learning platform that sucks. And then comes the workplace. So employee experience, all these three things matter. One is workplace, one is culture, and one is technology or the interface. And now when workplace is so evolving, how do you ensure that you give the best employee experience? Because the workplace is not the workplace of 2 years back. All said and done, even if we come back fully to the workforce, I think you have to build in the element of flexibility. One may say that in a manufacturing setup, how can you do that? But we heard about many technology intervention happening in the engineering services or in the engineering domain or in the manufacturing domain, where you need not be physically present in your, not all roles don't need to be specifically present. So I think Prachi Jha has a question, and so please shoot. With the adoption of technology-driven HR, frictional unemployment. Anyway, I can't read the question. Yeah, so with the adoption of technology-driven HR, frictional unemployment, joblessness and jobless growth pertaining especially to India's context will be indispensably inevitable. How are we to tackle this? I hope you can write the question simpler. And that was the theme that I was going to say, that HR has to become very simpler and very close to the ground. No, so your question is very thought-provoking, Prachi, and there is no straight answer to that. Because joblessness is not across the sector. Similarly, what problem that you are posing is not the only problem that we are facing. There are other problems also that we are facing. And at the same time, there are new roles emerging across the sector, and there are organizations which who need people, who need talent, and they are working very closely with the talent to skill them and to keep them engaged. What is the HR's role now? With workplace evolving, we have not reached the workplace of future because there is no future. I'm to say future is a metaphor, isn't it? After even something after half an hour is future, after 2 days also is the future. So how do you define future by time? Workplace is evolving and it will keep on evolving. Maybe the speed of evolution will be faster and it won't be the same for everybody. A workplace for a professor, a workplace for a school teacher, a workplace for a sports coach, and a workplace for people like me working in a corporate is different. And I think that is the beauty that HR has to now do, that we have to make a contextual workplace. If there is no sense of everybody to be present at all the time or at a fixed time 9 to 5, then it is not required. It unnecessarily also puts your traffic planning into jeopardy. So workplace, work timing norms will definitely evolve and change. How does it closure home to HR? It means that you have to have a relook at your performance management. How do you manage performance? Task management by supervising people, by physical, by meeting them or being around is not the way of future for all roles. So performance management has to be contextualized. Same is the case with recruiting. I think in the last 2 years, people, when they were out of job, or then when there was a fashion designer who lost her job, or there was a restaurateur who lost her job, when they were at home, they learned so many skills online that they are now available to IT industry. And so we find that in our own organization, we have a business unit called TSC, Technology Service Technology Solution Center, and we are finding that we are Earlier, this is a Delhi-based business unit, so we were always looking for Delhi-based IT skill person. And now we are looking at Bikaner or Indore or Hyderabad or Bangalore, because we are finding that talent is sitting at various places, and this particular unit is working fully remote. So while there are other units in the organization who are not working remote, so I'm saying that we have to agree that the new world will be far more complex than what it was till now. Similarly, on discipline, so HR has been talking about discipline around leave management, discipline around attendance, discipline around performance appraisal, file filling of forms, online or offline, whatever. I think discipline again has to be looked into. And how do we engage and retain talent? I think that is the basic thing that is that will not change for HR. That HR definitely is the main aim of HR is to attract, develop, engage, and retain talent. And with this kind of changes happening, we have to look into that. How do we do it effectively, and how do we bring the element of change so that we are quite relevant? In the recent survey that we had done in the organization, we got a very good result of overall employee engagement. And then when we cut it down, we found that women, if we form women as a group and men as a group, then the employee engagement score were at least 15 to 18 points. There was a gap. So if men gave say 84 points out of 100, because women gave 59 points. And this is what I think we as an organization, we as HR have to address, that, how do we bring women into workforce post-pandemic? How do we retain and engage women? Because in the pandemic time, we have seen that the priorities that women had in their household, due to traditional way of traditions of society or whatever you can call it, were quite different. So how does the organization address it? If your woman employee is not available, say at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. because maybe she has to, but then question why she has to, but then she has to plug in the laptop and make the child start the online classes, and then the same employee is available say at 9 p.m. in the evening because now she is available for work. Does the organization allow this kind of fluid working? And this is where I think we have to be, the way we say on-demand workforce, here also we have to be on-demand for these talents in the organization. One size does not fit all. With these snippets, I would like to close my talk. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. We are grateful for your gracious presence and illuminating words. Moving ahead, I would now request the guest of honor and eminent speaker, Mr. Bharat Chhabra, Head, Change Management and Learning and Development, Tata Power Central Odisha Distribution Limited, to address the gathering. So please.
Thank you, Aishwarya. My gratitude to Professor Dr. Biswajit Patnaik, Founder and President ASBM University, Co-Chair Professor Kalyan Shankar Ray, Falguni Ranjana ji, Pro Vice Chancellor, then the fellow panelists, and the HR stalwarts in the HR fraternity, Nihar Ghosh ji, Dr. C Jaykumar ji, and Renu ji. I also extend my welcome and gratitude to all the students and participants who are present here. You are the future of this country, and I wish many of you become leaders of the world also. I'll start with a quote, thoughts in few lines in Hindi. We have seen this pandemic, and we have seen that this global pandemic has totally disrupted the entire world. It is not just about the countries who were not that resourceful, but the most resourceful countries also came down to their knees this time. So if these are the challenges, so what do we do? So I'll share some of the lines that are coming to my mind in Hindi. मुश्किलों से भाग जाना आसान होता है, हर पहलू जिंदगी का इम्तिहान होता है, डरने वाले को कुछ नहीं मिलता जिंदगी में, जो लड़ता है उसकी जिंदगी में उसके कदमों में जहां होता है. So these are the thoughts that are coming to my mind when I connect with each of you at this platform. Professor Viswati talked about the road less traveled. So every day you have to find a new way of doing it. And काफी सारी reports, काफी सारी चीजों में we have seen that many of the jobs are going, automation is happening, things are happening like that. Job नहीं है, employability नहीं है, there are so many challenges. But then Dr. Cjayakumar also shared one very important and valuable optimistic insight that much more than the jobs which are vanishing, there are further more than that which are now emerging. Now the question is, how do we capture that? So that is the real issue. That is the real objective of the changing workplace and the workforce. Professor Biswajit also talked about change is inevitable. Now, if change is inevitable, the success is optional, isn't it? We heard the example of Nokia, Kodak, and many others. There are many other examples. Even if we look around our neighborhoods also, we see that some of the businesses, some of the shops which are operating are no more doing that well now. But is the business reducing? No. We hear a lot of e-tailers launching so many big million days and this and that. We see so many of festivities, and every time they share a newer records of the sales that they have ever made. So that means that yes, when one door is closing, there are many others which are opening, isn't it? So I believe that I'll share you some of the examples of how practically we did, how practically we fought with the challenges that we had, and what I personally believe are some of the core fundamental formulas which will work today and are very likely that they will work tomorrow as well. I'll talk about those fundamentals, the human touch points. See, we come from a power distribution company, though Tata Group is a big group, and the Tata Power is more than 100 years old organization, more than 125 years old organization. When the group founder, Mr. J.N. Tata, founded 3 key industries in the nation, for the nation. The one was Tata Power, the Tata Steel, and the Tata Motors, which used to be called Telco at that time. The founders felt that if the country has to grow, if the economy has to be supported, these are the 3 key fundamentals at that point in time. And these are all large industries. No one had ever thought during those pre-independence days that somebody can come up and do such kind of things. So from the bigger Tata Group and the Tata Power, I talk about a very small entity of Tata Power Delhi Distribution Limited. It is a joint venture between the Delhi government and the Tata Power company. And we are bounded by only to serve power distribution, the power distribution area in a marked geography, which is 510 square kilometers in Delhi, which is north and northwest part of Delhi. Now, एक स्वामी विवेकानंद जी का एक बात याद आता है, तो अपने लिए तो सब जीते हैं, लेकिन जीते वही हैं जो दूसरों के लिए जीते हैं, है ना? लोग आते हैं, लोग चले जाते हैं, and nobody remembers them. But if you do good something for the others, for the society, for the economy, then you will live, you will continue to live. So this company, the joint venture at Delhi, was formed in 2002, and it was first venture of the main parent Tata Power company into the power distribution area. I was fortunate to be part of this organization as the second employee on roll when the new company was formed. Now, That time, the company was into huge losses, more than 53%. This was on paper. This is something that we could measure. And you imagine a business wherein you are doing a business of 100 rupees and close to 55 rupees you are putting a loss. Now, how will this business stay, survive, or so this is how we started. But we, when I look back of what worked in Delhi and which otherwise did not work in many of the power distribution companies, or if we look at the entire power distribution sector of the country, just to share a few numbers that the power distribution alone has the accumulated business losses in the country, which are close to 3.5 to 4 lakh crores of accumulated losses. Just imagine, in a country like India, if these are the losses, so how do we, had we reduced those losses, is there not an opportunity that by using those funds, we can do so many good things for the welfare of the people, for the farmer, for the agriculture, for the old age people, for the girl child, for the women, and so many other in the infra-related things. So there is so much of possibility. And this is a totally regulated business, which means that whatever profits you make, you cannot take away all the profit. The entire profit will be built up for the next tariff fixation, and any savings of profit that you make is going to benefit the customer or the people of that service area that you operate in. When we started, when we had faced the COVID and being into the power distribution area, we had challenges that how do we ensure that we have availability of manpower, because there is a nationwide lockdown and many of our employees were staying in red zones. The first wave was challenging and the second was devastating and very horrible. Now, how do we do that? How do we ensure that when people are talking about work from home, introducing new technology, the hospitals, the medical, the police, the academia, how do we ensure that when you are working at home, you get 24/7 uninterrupted power supply? So we had to be on the ground. So this is what we did. We created a platform wherein leadership came in the front, and we ensure we look at C3 and 3C. I will share in any challenging environment or otherwise also. For the success of the HR, there are C3, which is communicate, communicate, and communicate. The first one, communication, is the communication from the leadership to the people. The second important communication is to get the communication back from people to the leadership. And the third one is that how do we create cross-functional, multi-directional communication channels in the organization. And during this pandemic, we implemented 3 more C's. The first C was the caution. If people are to serve, how do we ensure that they are themselves safe first? If they are coming from the red zone or the yellow zone, how do we make sure that they are comfortably stationed? Or if somebody is infected, how do we isolate them? So we created those kind of infra in our offices. Some temporary beddings were made. Medical infra was strengthened. The online counseling was done. Every day, every morning, we made sure that all the leaders connect with their team members every day, every morning, and there is a reporting of the health condition of all the employees in that particular department. So this is how we created a strong connect between the leader and the team members. If somebody is not well, then immediately the medical team or the other enabling HR welfare team gets into action to ensure that they get the online counseling, the consulting, and in case they require some medicines or some other support, we tried our best to ensure and provide them with the help from our local partners, with the help from our insurance and the medical team also. The second, we also implemented the business continuity and disaster management plan. We restrengthened, reorganized that and shared it with all the members and ensured that in each department, there are some communication channels which are happening and ensuring that people are aware of the disaster management of the business continuity plan. Then we had to have that courage. The first one was the caution. The second C we implemented was, we exhibited was the courage, that we are a power distribution company. We cannot sit back at home while people are sitting comfortably. They are protecting themselves and their families at home. We have to ensure that when they are sitting at home, they should be comfortable. Their mobiles should be charged, their laptops, their desktops should be functional. The hospitals get the enough electricity, and so on and so forth. So that is where we exhibited that courage. The third C was the compassion. We looked at our own employees as also human beings. How do we ensure that they are well taken care of? Work from home. Renu talked about the female employees. I also had a couple of female colleagues, and they had young kids, and subsequently the classes were happening online. Many of them did not have the multiple tabs, laptops, or mobiles to give it to their kids, to the younger ones, or how would they operate? So we created that kind of a mechanism that when we exhibited that kind of a compassion, employee also realized that I have also to give back to the company. So we created that kind of a mechanism that you work with your time. Take care of your child class first, take care of your own self first, and then let's get back to the work also and create those kind of mechanisms. Incidentally, much before that, as Dr. Cjayakumar also shared, we were working something similar on that a little before what COVID came in. The digitization was happening. We had kept an internal target of 60% of digitization of the entire processes. And we succeeded. We completed almost 78% of the processes were digitalized by the time COVID came in. And that helped enable in ensuring the business continuity. Yes, some of the things we could not do, as we used to celebrate our colleagues, the birthdays, the parties, the meetings, and all those kind of training programs in person, but we remain connected. We announced that every Friday we will have a Fun Friday week, which was in fact intended to work for the mental well-being and health of the employee and their family members. So this is where we touch them, the employees and their family members. We used to have periodically these sessions by our medical faculty. Our cross-functional leaders also came in, and we introduced one department to another department. We create inspirational story. We started Mission Kamyabi Ka. Like, if my lineman is working in the field while fighting with all those safety-related issues and challenges, why not show him as a hero or an actress or the heroine of the organization? So we started showing them as our real heroes who were working on the ground to ensure uninterrupted power supply. And when we were doing all that, we did lot of we started a culture of gratitude and appreciation. So we opened up that if somebody is helping you, share your gratitude. We started showcasing their own talents. So we had so many inspirations from within. Every human being is a unique and is a talent pool. Now, how do we let him know or her know that yes, this is your talent and we appreciate, we value you for that? So this is how we created a story of inspiration, the engagement, and always remember that when an employee comes to an organization, they come with 3 H. The first one is H, the hand, with which they come to work in the organization. The another is the head, that they bring their brains to the workplace, their competence, their intellect, their knowledge of different domains that they bring to the organization. The third one is that they also have a heart. So if we are able to touch that heart, align the hand and the business together, that is where we see the value. So this is the 3 H that we worked upon, that how do we align the mind, the competence and the intellect to the talent that the one person brings to the table. And how do we take care of the employees by touching their heart, taking care of their well-being, appreciating them, thank you them for being here with us, and creating those kind of value for all of them. And as an HR, we also have to think of we also have to have that business sense in mind. While we were doing all that, it is not just for the sake of doing it. How it is going to create value for the business or the people or the community. This always has to kept in mind at the forefront. So if we are able to align that, we definitely make change a business case. That is what my intent and my effort have been. At the peak of COVID last year, Tata Power won the bid for the Tata Power, the Central Odisha part, which was erstwhile CSU. Now, in the peak of COVID, when all were sitting at their home, protecting them or their family members in the home, we had the leadership team moving from Delhi to Odisha in the Bhubaneswar to take over the charge. Earlier, it was intended to start from April, but the government relaxed and they said that the times are not that appropriate, and they were making some adjustments. The government was busy in some other things, and then we started and we took over the Central Odisha part, operations of the power distribution of that area, from 1st of June. And this year, we have faced two cyclones. One was the Yas, which was wherein the fall was in the northern part of the Odisha, and it also touched some part of the Central Odisha on the coastal area. And this time, it is a record in the Odisha government records that the power was restored in much lesser time than it used to be earlier. And I remember 2 months back, I heard the UN making a mention of our Odisha Chief Minister, Shri Naveen Patnaik ji, that the Odisha has much better and robust disaster management plan than any other Western countries also, or any other country in the world. In the Western world, they take generally couple of weeks or couple of months to fully restore on as-is basis, but it was Odisha which made that happen. And we are very proud to be part of the new change reforms which have started in Odisha. In June last year, we took over the Central Odisha operation. 1st of January, we took over the Tata Western Odisha and the Southern Odisha. And from 1st of April this year, we took over the Northern Odisha part. We are very happy to be part of the Odisha now, and we are trying to see what best value can be created for this place. Professor Biswajit also mentioned about the change and the economic progress that it should bring. I also would like to add here that much more than the economic progress, the people progress is the key. If we start working on the people, the business and the economy by default benefits. So this is what we have worked for, and this is what we look up to in the coming months and years, that how we can create value for the Odisha. In Delhi alone, when I say that the value creation for the Odisha, I say so because in Delhi, when we have seen that the losses have reduced from 55% to now less than 7%, it means that the Tata Power Delhi distribution has saved thousands of crores of taxpayers' money. If I put it to number, it will be close to 45,000 crores of the taxpayers' money, which has been saved by reducing the losses in this sector. So when we work for this place and we work for Odisha and reducing the distribution losses, we see so much of taxpayers' money gets saved, and that money can be used for the welfare of the people, for the agriculture, for the farming community, for the students of the state, for the improving the employability, for skilling or upskilling or creating those kind of avenues for the people of Odisha, and also bringing in a lot of value by creating or enhancing the potential of the erstwhile employees over here. So this is what we are aiming at, and I would another closing lines which are coming to my mind is that always remember that what Dr. Cjayakumar said, that many jobs are going to go, but there are many new opportunities which are going to come. तो जब टूटने लगे हौसले, जब भी कभी टूटने लगे हौसले, तो यह याद रखना, बिना मेहनत के कभी भी हासिल तख्तो-ताज नहीं होते. ढूंढ लेना अंधेरे में ही मंजिल अपनी. Find your new way. There are several new opportunities coming in. ढूंढ लेना उसी अंधेरे में अपनी मंजिल, क्योंकि जुगनू are the fireflies. These are like flies and जिनमें थोड़ा सा रात में चमकता है. आप में से मुझे मालूम नहीं कितने लोगों ने ऐसी जगह में विजिट किया होगा, ये देखा होगा. तो ढूंढ लेना अंधेरे में ही मंजिलें अपनी, क्योंकि जुगनू कभी किसी रोशनी के मोहताज नहीं होते. You all are bright and talented people. You have tremendous potential in you. I would urge you to have that confidence in your own self and see the new world opening your way. So with these few lines, I stop here and I leave it to the members, the students. In case they have any question, I'll be very happy to answer to the best of my ability. Thank you, Aishwarya.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. With this, we have come to the end of this inaugural session. I request Professor Dr. Bhaktabandhu Das, the coordinator, to propose the vote of thanks. So please.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to have been asked to offer a vote of thanks on the inaugural ceremony of 11th National HR Symposium 2021 in our university. On behalf of my university, I extend my hearty gratitude to our eminent speakers, Mr. Nihar Ghosh, President HR Mami Limited, Dr. C Jaykumar, CHRO Elant Limited, Ms. Renu Bora, CHRO, DB Snaker, a private limited, and Mr. Bharat Chhabra, Head, Change Management and L&D Tata Power, for sharing their graceful words with us in today's ceremony. I place my sincere thanks to Dr. Biswajit Patnaik, founder and president ASBM University and chairman 11th National HR Symposium 2021 for his able guidance in matters pertaining to the growth and development of the university. I extend my thanks to our revered Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kalyan Shankar Rai, Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Falguni Ranjana, for their untiring support and guidance and being the constant source of inspiration for all of us. Maruti Patnaik, coordinator, 11th National HR Symposium 2021, registered ASBM University, Head School of Business, and other faculty members for their valuable contribution in institutionalizing this program. We have been fortunate to have a renowned identity from academics, industry, and other areas. I am very thankful to the entire participants of this August gathering. I am sure that our university will continue to get significant provision from diverse groups in the future. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to all administrative and support staffs for their support and cooperation in this symposium. Last but not the least, my special thanks goes to all my loving students for their active participation in this function. Once again, I thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We can now close for the session. Thank you.
Thank you.